Hey y'all, how you doing? This is Barrowly Berry Jr. back for part two of this uh topic dealing with airplanes and Earth rotation. Um, I was on this discussion yesterday and got a response from the flat earther who challenged me, New Perspective. So I want to address those challenges I actually put together, uh, at least not put together, but extracted a few excerpts. I'll get to that momentarily. First, make sure that you've subscribed, liked, if you haven't already, share. There's my Patreon and my X account. You can sign up there, show some support. Hope to build up a following, keep things going. Uh, And if you go to the website linked at the top and go to personal site, you can actually see uh, the sort of excerpts from the video I'm going to pull up, but it's simply different sections from the video from earlier. Simply, I just found different sections, and I'll go ahead and play those so you can take a look and see what I'm referring to. Because um, as expected, the flat earther acted or responded predictably. So as I was showing one of my responses to him, I predicted what the response would be. And that's the exact response I got, even though I just addressed it already in the video. And perhaps I wasn't clear about what I was saying about demonstrating his point. So I'll make sure to be more clear about that this time. So that's where it's going to be at. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So what I'll do, I'll bring up my website here and I'll go to the uh, part in question. What I'll do as well, by the way, thinking about it, I'll bring up my article where I basically presented something that's wrong about flat Earth, and I didn't just make a claim, actually did observations and calculations and so on and so forth to show that what I was saying was accurate. So first thing I'll do, let me pull up video. Now, what I'll do is put the link to my videos page in the chat, the live chat, because it's the easiest way to get directly to the clip. So if you look at the videos on that page, the first two are the ones I'll be addressing. So I'll start with the second one, and it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is the part one of this example. And this is going to be because maybe I should start with his uh, rebuttal so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So he responded back saying, the first thing he responded with is that I'm new on this topic. I didn't realize you were new. Ground speed at the equator model is said to be 1,000, and it tapers up to zero. The reason that is a spinning ball. Uh, We're on the ball and rotating on its axis 15 degrees, 24 hours. This would mean that there'd be a gradient, tangential velocity, so on and so forth. This is why the Coriolis effect, uh, uh, you know, so on and so forth. Master surprise that you sent satisfied, just assuming that typical flirt, making stuff up. Uh, well, actually, let me show the video first. So, I'll just try to make it a bit more clear this time what I'm saying. Let me, boom. So I have that shared on my right screen. So I'll share my right screen and just let it play for a little bit. Mhm. Choose display. For some reason it's not picking up the video. Let me see here. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So here's the clip that will to address the first thing that he mentioned about not understanding or knowing or of the 1000 thing. You haven't shown that there's any kind of flight manual or real scientific anything other than flat earth nonsense that says that the planet is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour at uh uh the you know equator. And I know that the Federalists will say, well, the planet has a 24,000 mile circumference and it's spinning at and that amount of yeah. That's not how we uh account for rotation, at least not in my uh uh understanding. So if you could present something that shows that do so as well, you haven't shown that there's any kind of flight manual or so let's listen to the clip one more time. Haven't shown that there's any kind of flight manual or real scientific anything other than flat earth nonsense that says that the planet is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour at uh uh the you know equator. And I know that the Federalists will say, well, the planet has a 24,000 mile circumference and it's spinning at and that amount of yeah. That's not how we uh account for rotation, at least not in my uh uh understanding. So if you could present something that shows that do so as well, you haven't shown that there's any kind of right. So what I certainly said in part one is that yeah, I understand you could point to the uh, circumference of the Earth and the direction of the spin, and you could say, yeah, the ground is going by that fast. But what I'm saying is, so I'm a senior double major in physics and astronomy. That doesn't mean I'm an expert physicist or astronomer, but my understanding, in perspective, is that you don't have a degree in physics or astronomy. You didn't go to school for physics or astronomy. So I think just on its face, I will be more qualified to say how physicists and astronomers do things from my first-hand experience, interacting with them in their classes, working with them as a learning assistant. Uh, and I've never, for instance, any of my astronomy classes, when we're discussing the rotations of planets or the rotations of stars, I've never once run into any textbook or paper, professor, or visiting physicist or astronomer who referred to that planet or star and calculated the circumference of it and said, oh, that planet is spinning at so many thousands of miles per hour at the equator. Never happened. So what I'm saying is, while you can look at it from that perspective and say, yes, the ground is moving past us at 1,000 miles an hour if you were hovering above the planet and just at some kind of position where you could just see it go by at the rotation speed. Our point is that that's not how we address rotation. So what it seems to me, like I was saying in the first video, is this entire argument seems to be just some kind of distortion of what scientists and astronomers really do and how they really address rotation when they actually deal with rotation, uh, uh, to make it seem like it's something that is not, to basically make some kind of straw man of the globe to make a flat Earth argument. So in other words, I'm not seeing anywhere where this argument points on anything that's, in other words, the globe has been established to be a fact many times over. The planet is a globe. Airplanes are flying around, so it works. So, however it works, whether it just naturally works because of all the nature of everything, uh, 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 it doesn't matter because I don't have a problem with it. If you're saying no, 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 planes are flying, and because we don't see something like this, so let me show my lead screen. You see that rocket right there? See that rocket? Because we don't have some kind of rocket pushing on the side of the airplane to to get it to change tangential speed from 500 to 1,000 miles per hour, or something is wrong. That's what it seems to be that you're suggesting. So, going back to your quotes, and let me find one of them. I'll see if I can find the exact one from yesterday. All right. How about the plane needed to be accelerated twice as fast sideways to land on a 1,000 mile per hour? It created a runway when it takes off with only 500 miles per hour, conserve momentum. Have you thought that one through? So that would mean sideways acceleration. So if you look at an airplane and the engines are pointing straight, you're saying there needs to be sideways acceleration, which we don't see on airplanes. There's no rocket booster or engine pointed sideways to get it, some tangential velocity like you're talking about. So so it seems that you're saying because we don't see that, the earth must be flat. What I'm saying is you have yet to demonstrate that that is needed or that is not accounted for. So let me go to the second clip that relates to that point. And this one is a shorter clip. I'll let it play a few times. But just saying, why does this happen? Just like the person saying, where's the light? Or just like the person saying, well, how far does the earth move? Just because you answer the question doesn't mean that it's not being accounted for. There's not a sensible explanation. Your ignorance doesn't mean that something is wrong. So go ahead and get some calculations and bring that. But just saying, why does this happen? Just like the person saying, where's the light? Or just like the person saying, well, how far does the earth move? Just because you answer the question doesn't mean that it's not being accounted for. There's not a sensible explanation. Your ignorance doesn't mean that something is wrong. So go ahead and get some calculations and bring that. But just saying, why does this? All right, so that's what I'm saying. So we see airplanes going. We don't see uh, uh, some kind of sideways rocket booster on it or something like they're talking about needing some kind of sideways acceleration twice as fast. So they work. I'd have a problem with them working. You're saying that there is no sideways acceleration means there's a problem, but you haven't shown that. So I understand that as a flat earther, I'm sure you're doing the best that you can. When I talk about the either ignorant or deceptive claims of these arguments, I'm not saying that you're intentionally being deceptive yourself, but at the least you would have fallen for such deceptive claims because you ask for some kind of calculation of the forces needed, some kind of something to demonstrate that this is needed, rather than just claiming, oh, where's the sideways acceleration? Rather just asking for it as if it's a given that is needed, showing that it's needed. I understand that as a flat earther, having interacted with flat earthers and observed discussions and chats, understand that you all are not practiced in that. Flat earthers are practiced in just claiming whatever they want, and then because they claimed it is true, um, and and then somehow we have to answer for something just because they claimed it with no evidence. That's not how reality works. So speaking about airplanes, you know, people who build airplanes don't just declare, you know what, if we build an airplane like this, it'll work. And then they just build it just like that and then put it on the runway. That's not how it works. They come up with an idea for a plane and then they, run tests and calculations and test it out. Maybe they build a model and put it in their air tunnel, and then maybe they build a larger one and then make the full scale and testing. There's a bunch of testing and demonstrating that the concept works. It's not just declaring something and then all of a sudden it's true. So here's an example of what I mean. So not too long ago, I did a measurement of the fact that the Earth is a globe, the measurement of the circumference of the Earth. And what I did was I went ahead and also did a flat Earth comparison. So let me go ahead and share my screen again, and you can see what I'm talking about with that. And I'll give an example of what I mean by giving some kind of demonstration of what's going on by my own direct example. So, so here's my web page. You can go to this website by just going to uh, personal.darrellleeberryjr.com, or if you go to darrellleeberryjr.com, you'll be able to see the uh, the sort of index of links. And you can just pick a link that pick the central link. It'll take you to the personal site. So and let me center it a bit better. All right. So now we have that. So what I did was I went out, I measured the angle to the sun at my location in Austin. I got the subsolar point, which is the point on the planet Earth where the sun is directly over that location. And then what I did was I got the distance between where I'm at and the subsolar point, and I did some trigonometry. The Earth is flat, as the flat earthers say. Uh, the sun is where it's at. And I know that to get out of the fact that we see the sun where it is, flat earthers are, some of them are declaring some kind of electric sun or personal perspective or azimuthal grid of vision nonsense. In my physics education, in classes where I had to do experiments with light, learning on light, see demonstrations on light, so on and so forth, I have a basic understanding of how light works. Until you show all this stuff is working with some kind of, solid experimentation and evidence, I count it as just bullshit. I'm going to work on light, how I know light works from my direct experience. We see the sun there. That's where the sun is, because light is coming from the source. At the subsolar point here, they look straight up and see the sun. So theta is my angle to the sun. 90 degrees is the angle from the subsolar point to the sun. Did some trigonometry by simply recognizing, like I know again that the flat earthers, some of them say that there's an ice wall, and some say it's an infinite plane. And even when I introduced this idea on a Discord server that I don't go to anymore because of my treatment there, one of them had said something to the effect of, "Oh, well, you all are claiming that you're basing it on our model, but we didn't give you a model, so it can't." No. What we can do is simply, we know the North Pole is there. I know how far I am from the North Pole. We know how far, we can look up how far the subsolar point is from the North Pole. Since the flat Earth, the general conception seems to be the sun is sort of, going around over the Earth. Well, at some point, the sun is going to be the same distance from the North Pole, but on the opposite side from me, and there you have midnight. So I have the distance of myself from the North Pole, I have the distance from the North Pole to the subsolar point, and we add those together, and we get this distance, 99.75 miles. So simple trigonometry, I see that from my location, the sun will never go lower than 18.82 degrees in the sky, which means it would never set. Because guess what? When we see sunsets, the sun actually goes to the horizon and then just below the horizon. So we see the sun all the way from, you know, 0 degrees on the sunrise side to 0 degrees on the sunset side, right? Everybody can see that for themselves. So if the sun is always 18 degrees in the sky or 19 degrees in the sky, we would see it because we see the sun at 19 degrees in the sky. We see the sun lower than 19 degrees in the sky all the way to 0 degrees, right when the little edge of it is there, then it goes away. So also extended this to the so-called ice wall, just taking the circumference of the Earth to the edge for those who believe in the edge. Even if you don't believe in the edge, people generally believe in a little UN map, which goes from basically the circumference of the Earth would be double, basically the diameter of that circle, basically. So if you look at it that way and go to the edge, or however you want to look at it, the sun would still be, so basically Austin would be here, where I'm at here, and you go to all the way to the South Pole, what it really is, but flattened out, it'll be, that far away, or, or ice wall, whatever. People have different conceptions. So I sort of say we're 12,000 miles that way. And then the distance to the subsolar point, and still the sun is only 10 degrees below above the horizon. So check my map, let me know if I'm wrong. If I am, won't be that much anyway. Either way it goes, it'll still be in the air. And we can see the sun from 0 degrees all the way to zenith. So now this is an example of how I did firsthand observations. Uh, and this is the Earth measurement one where I have uh, the device I use, very simple device, just the notebook and a box to get the angle to the sun. I did this personally myself. I knew the angles to the sun. Uh, uh, Anybody could look online and find several sites that give the subsolar point. It can't be as confusing because people are actually there, like the sun is actually passing over places where people live. They were lying about the subsolar point. It'd be pretty easy for people to look up and see the sun is not where they say it is every day. I can't look up and see it. And then when I do the math on the globe, guess what? We output the circumference of the Earth consistent with the many, many, many times that this experiment has been done over the centuries. I could think of two in today's time with MC Toon did a group people did it. The Veritas documentary shows a group of people that did it. So this has been established now. So this is an example of what I mean when I say you have not shown that something is wrong. I told you something is wrong with the height of the sun. I made observations, made calculations, presented it all so you can see this is what I see wrong. So now, if something is wrong with what I'm saying is wrong, now you have the data and it's up to you to go ahead and get the data. I presented everything so you can let me know where I'm wrong. So far, nobody has done that. You have presented nothing but a claim that you need some kind of sideways acceleration. What is the force that it would have to overcome? How much acceleration? What calculate? And I understand that you think the Earth is flat, so it'll be okay. So model the globe. All the different details of the globe is there. Unlike flat earthers who acknowledge they have no model, anything you want to know about the globe is there. You can get an astronomy textbook, a physics textbook. You can go to a reputable, a science site online. You can go to a university website. Anything you need about the model of the globe, you could find it. It's all out there. Again, unlike the flat Earth, which has no definite answer on anything. It's just, ad hoc stuff to hope to patch holes that, we found a hole, they just make some ad hoc thing up to patch that, and then of course that breaks something else, and then they make some ad hoc thing to patch that up. There's nothing there. Okay, so what you can do is you can let me know according to understanding of air currents and gravity and Coriolis force and whatever else would be relevant. You can go ahead and do like I did and take the variables into account and let me know why this won't work on the globe. And then you actually have something that you pointed out to be wrong. Until you do that, it's just the base of this claim. So now I've addressed what you said. I was not saying that you can't, to review, I was not saying that you can't look at the, look at the Earth from a certain perspective and say, uh, you know, you can view it as if the ground is going by at that point. So again, in the official documents you can find, it will confirm all pilots. Well, that's not the part. Also, too bad you interpreted. Which part is it? Mm, oh, I'm sorry. Scroll too far. Here it is. I didn't realize how new you are to this topic. The ground speed at the equator for the globe model is said to be 1,000 miles per hour. They say it tapers up to zero. The reason is a spinning ball model, so on and so forth. I never denied that. I said, yeah, 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 but that does not in any way equate to something is wrong with the globe. And that is not how, in my experience, physicists and astronomers deal with rotation. So it seems to me you're putting a way of thinking about it that does not seem to correlate. So, and again, I'm open to you showing some kind of textbook or flight manual where they say, yes, in order to do this experiment or whatever, we have to take into account the Earth moving tangentially at this speed, at this latitude or whatever. Well, you yourself said that there are official documents where you can confirm for yourself that pilots are taught to treat the Earth as stationary. I've seen these documents myself presented in debates and stuff where, the manual says treat it like a stationary flat plane and treat the airplane as an unchanging mass and a rigid body. Okay, that still doesn't say that there's something wrong. So again, scroll back to my example where I did observations and did calculations and show, look, this is what's wrong with it and this is why. This is why the Earth can't be flat because the sun would never set. This is how I know the sun never set because I observed the sun. I got the angles to the sun. I got the angle to the at the subsolar point, 90 degrees, the location. I got the distances. I did the calculations. These are the calculations. These are the angles, and this is the output angle that comes out. We see the sun lower than this. So if the sun was at this angle, we would see it. The sun would never set on a flat Earth. Thus the flat Earth is disproven. That's an example. You go get your observations or evidences or references or whatever, and you show that according to the model of the globe and our understanding of the globe, that this is a problem. When you do that, then you will have something for me to actually address. At this point, you don't have anything. All right. So I think I addressed that. Uh, I'll go ahead and see what he says in response to that. This time, if it's just another claim like that, I'll just go into a video or something. I mean, it's only so many times you can say the same thing. And perhaps I wasn't clear the first time, but I believe I was much more clear this time. Again, yeah, yeah, yeah. You could look at the Earth at a certain perspective and say the ground is moving by 1,000 miles at the equator. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't mean anything is wrong. Uh, and I gave an example of actually doing observations and making calculations, presenting some kind of evidence that what the model is wrong. I presented evidence that the flat Earth model is wrong. That's an example of how you can do the same thing with this point. Speaking about that, I think if we did this more, there would be less flat earthers around because this is what they do. They make these claims that don't have any substance behind them and then expect you to go run and do a bunch of work. And then what happens? If you do that and you go and disprove their claim, what do? They just move to something else. Oh, well, what about this? And then you just prove that, and they just say, well, what about this? Right? I've rarely. This happened, before, but I could count it on one hand thinking about it, where a flat earth actually said, "Oh, I'm actually wrong about that." It just jumped to something else. Like they didn't even have the conversation where they, you know, claimed whatever. So it doesn't seem worth my time to go try to learn about airplanes and whatever the dynamics is of how it works when I don't see a problem and you haven't shown the problem. Show there's a problem first, just like I showed very clearly that there's a problem with the sun setting on the flat Earth. Again, that's an example. So I guess I'm just repeating myself because I'm hoping to not have to repeat the same things again. I hope I was very, very clear. Let me take a look at the chat. I didn't actually have the chat up, the live chat on the video. Let me pull the live chat up and see if anybody showed and if anybody put any kind of clarification in there. Brandon says, hi, what's going on, Brandon? Thanks for showing up. Thanks for joining. So yeah, so that's my thing. That's what I have to say about that. And what I'll do is I'll take a quick break and I'll come back and still do a little bit on the Veritas because I like to keep up the uh, what pattern of doing a little bit of that each week. So give me a moment to reset. I'll pull that documentary up and have it all ready, and we'll go through another 15 to 20 minutes of that documentary for 30 minutes or an hour or something, and see some more good stuff that's in that video. So comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Uh, I'll be back in what 20 minutes. So hang around, come back in about 20 minutes. I'll be back.